Dwayne Carter is out for the year. The Buffalo Bills named their 2025 captains, and a whole lot more is coming your way today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of the Herd Mentality Substack, co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, co-host of the NFL First Read Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Locked On Bills is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Well, folks, welcome in. We got a lot planned today. We're going to do 2 segments of Herd Mentality, and there's some great questions to dive into. The Bills also named their team captains for 2025. But we start with the big news, and that is that defensive tackle DeWayne Carter tore his Achilles and is out for the season. This happened during practice last week on Wednesday. The news broke on Sunday night, and DeWayne Carter affirmed that with his own social media posts, and he's already had surgery, and he'll miss the season. It's a tough situation for DeWayne Carter. It's a very, very tough break. 3rd-round pick out of Duke in 2024, and he was part of that move where the Bills traded back, right? They traded back with the Chiefs. They eventually get Keon Coleman, but the benefit in moving back was the 3rd-round pick that they gained, which turned into DeWayne Carter, and he had a quiet rookie season. Obviously, it was limited due to the wrist injury in the middle of the season, kept him out of the lineup for 5 weeks. Then he comes back and, he really didn't find a place in the rotation. The Bills wound up signing Jordan Phillips and signing Quentin Jefferson off the street, and that pretty much kept DeWayne Carter out of the rotation. He was inactive as a healthy scratch for 3 of the Bills' final 5 games, or 4, actually. 4 of their final 6 games, if you include the playoffs. He was inactive for all the playoff games, and that was certainly a choice that the Bills made. And so you think about him going into this coming season, hopefully he can take a step. And while you're hopeful for that, the Bills go out and sign Larry Ogunjobi, and then they draft TJ Sanders in the 2nd round. They draft Deion Walker in the 4th round. They trade up for both of those players, and things got a little cloudy for DeWayne Carter. And honestly, he had a very quiet training camp. He had a very quiet preseason. By the end of the preseason, based on the way the snaps played out during games, he was behind all of those players. He was behind Oliver, Jones, Ogunjobi, Walker, Sanders, and he was kind of that 6th guy. But then you thought, well, Larry Ogunjobi's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season due to the suspension. That'll give Carter a chance to play a little bit. And obviously that's not on the table for him anymore. He's going to miss the entire season. So now you're talking about him entering 2026 with not a whole lot to show for his first 2 seasons. You don't really feel good about where this is headed. Now, honestly, I don't think this is a big loss for the Bills. I really don't. In fact, you're probably looking at one of Zion Logue or Jordan Phillips to be elevated to the active roster from the practice squad to fill his role. And honestly, I think those might be better options, especially when you consider the role that Carter was going to be asked to fill as a backup nose tackle. Logue and Phillips are better options to me in that capacity. In fact, I said last week in predicting the week 1 inactives, I thought one of them would be DeWayne Carter. So I don't know that it's a big loss for the Bills, but it's really not helpful for the outlook of a recent 3rd-round pick. You obviously want to hit on as many picks as you can, as certainly the higher picks, and now you have a top 100 selection invested in DeWayne Carter, and you're entering year 3 with really no idea of what he's going to be. And what he has shown to this point has not been very encouraging. So it's not a great situation for DeWayne Carter. But the good news, I guess, for him is that it happens early in 2025. And so there should be nothing in jeopardy for 2026, barring a setback. So big year for him. And when you look at that 2026 defensive tackle room, you got Ed Oliver back, Sanders, Walker, Carter. They're all back. And you have expiring contracts in Larry Ogunjobi and Daquan Jones. Those are both north of 30 players that I think the Bills will probably get what they can out of this year and let walk in free agency. So he'll have his chance, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of competition, and hopefully Sanders and Walker ball out, and that's your very clear number 2 and number 3 guys to go with Ed Oliver when we're talking about 2026. So not a good development for DeWayne Carter at all. And obviously I was already concerned about that third-round investment panning out, and now I'm even more concerned. The Buffalo Bills named their team captains for 2025. They are the exact players they were last year. Only 2. Josh Allen, Terrell Bernard. That's it. You know, the Bills historically had more captains, right? 6, some years, more others. But last year they went with 2, and they do it again this year. Now, we know that the Bills will have their leadership council. There's going to be a whole lot more players involved in the leadership of this team that won't have a C on their jersey. But the only 2 with a C on their jersey this year, again, Terrell Bernard and Josh Allen. I was speculating with the Discord community. If you're part of our Substack or our subtext, you get into our Discord channel. It's almost 2,000 Bills fans in there. We talk all day long Bills and all kinds of stuff. And I knew the news was going to drop at some point on Monday. So early that morning, I put out a message to everyone in Discord. And I'm like, who do you think the team captains are going to be this year? And my guesses were that the Bills would have 5, and their names were Josh Allen, Deion Dawkins, Terrell Bernard, Christian Benford, and Reed Ferguson. And then they went with 2 again. And I thought with all the, it feels like the Bills, like the social media account, the YouTube people, they put a lot of content out there surrounding Christian Benford. It felt like it was kind of angling that way, and you kind of get a look at him on Hard Knocks and feel like he's really emerging as a leader for this football team. I think you could say the same about a lot of guys. I mentioned Dawkins, Khalil Shakir, Greg Rousseau, Taylor Rapp, Daquan Jones. I mean, there's a lot of contenders here, but I think the Bills like this path with 2 captains. It didn't hurt them last year, obviously, and they're back to it again. So I don't know that there's anything discouraging about it. I mean, it's the 2 guys. If you had to guess if there would be 2, it'd be those 2 again. But I thought maybe the Bills would get back to the deeper pool of captains, and they don't. They roll with 2 again this year, Terrell Bernard and Josh Allen. All right, coming up next, 2 segments of herd mentality and some great stuff to get into, including some former Bills who recently found new teams. I'll give you my thoughts on that and a whole lot more. So, folks, be sure to stick with me. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner, and you can feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone's researching, drafting, and building their championship squads. If you haven't joined a league yet, now's the time, and it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I'm playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether it's your first ever league or a veteran creating your millionth league. Yahoo Fantasy is loaded with fun ways to compete and brand new features that make the game even better. With season kickoff on September 4th, now is the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football, which offers so many fun ways to compete. Want more ways to play? Well, try the brand new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League mode, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated weekly until there's 1 team left standing. Want to play instantly with friends? Well, try the new Draft with Friends mode. Prefer the classics? Get your crew together and go head-to-head in a private league. Or if you don't have a crew, that's no problem. Join a public league, the easiest way to play. The NFL season kicks off on September 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. All right, welcome back, folks. Got a couple of segments of herd mentality lined up for you. Before we dive into that, want to remind you this weekend, come be part of it. The Rally on the River, September 6th, Buffalo River Works. I'm going to be there. I'm doing a live podcast right around 2 o'clock Eastern time. It's a full day of events. WGR will be broadcasting for like 4 hours. You're going to have Sal Capaccio there, the Mafia Boat Parade, Chalk Fest, which is incredible. You have to see that. Bounce houses, amusement rides. There's something for everyone in your family. There's going to be Bills players there signing autographs. I hope to see you there. It was an amazing event last year, and I can't wait for it to be even better this year. I'm going to be there on both sides at 2 o'clock. So I want to hang out with you. I want to say hello. I want to meet you. I want to thank you for, listening and watching this podcast and, get this season started. It's such a fun year that we're anticipating. And I couldn't imagine a better way to kick it off than spending time with you at Buffalo River Works, September 6th. If you're looking for more details, head to my website, thejoemarino.com. And there's an events tab. You can see some more details on it and see all the things that thejoemarino offers. thejoemarino.com offers, of course, information, our Discord, our subtext, our Substack, all the things. The merch shop. You want one of these? We have JA17 and You Don't shirts. You can get them right there on thejoemarino.com. We actually have a new Happy Victory Monday shirt as well. You got to check out in the merch shop. Go to thejoemarino.com to see it all. But mostly come to the Rally on the River on September 6th at Buffalo River Works. All right, let's do it. Herd mentality. First one from Chris. Chris says, within the past few days, we've learned of a couple of former Bills who are free agents that finally found a team for the upcoming season. Which player do you think ultimately will have the better season in 2025 based on the situations they've signed into and their trajectory as a player? Amari Cooper with the Las Vegas Raiders or Rasul Douglas with the Miami Dolphins? Look, I want to actually add Von Miller to this conversation. Von Miller signs with the Commanders, Amari Cooper to the Raiders, Rasul Douglas to the Dolphins. I got to be honest, I think those are great destinations for each of them. When you think about where they're at in their careers and the opportunities with those teams, I think it's terrific. Obviously the Dolphins had a huge need at corner, huge need. Rasul Douglas can come in and fit that scheme. He tackles well. I don't think they're going to put a lot on their corners. I think they've made some choices here. I think you're going to see a very classic cover 2 defense where the only thing they're really going to ask out of Rasul Douglas is this: defend the run, and then we're going to have safety help over top. So either sink with help over top, or we need you to drive on stuff in the flats and be a good tackler. I think it's a good spot for him at this point in his career. And that pass rush should be pretty solid with what they have up front. Amari Cooper to the Raiders, back where his career started, right? They made him a high first-round pick all those years ago. And that's a spot where he's going to get some opportunity. I mean, their number one receiver is Jacoby Myers, who's requested a trade. They got Brock Bowers at tight end, and then it's like, who's going to get the football? They got Geno Smith, the veteran quarterback. And I think that's a good spot for him to have opportunity and have a reasonable quarterback that can get him the ball. And then Vaughn to the Commanders. I have a lot of questions about the Commanders. And I'm expecting a bit of a regression from them. But for Vaughn to go to a team that has a need at edge rusher, that also, they went to the NFC Championship game last year. They got a great-looking young quarterback in Jaden Daniels. It's a good spot for him based on probably what opportunities existed for him. So I think all three of those guys went to good spots. I know the specific question was between Douglas to Miami and Cooper to the Raiders. I don't think either team's a playoff team, so I don't think they went to a spot where they can really be contenders. But I think they translate both very, very cleanly. But my favorite's probably Vaughn to the Commanders. Charlie says the Bills' new look defense appears poised to apply more pressure in an attack-heavy, blitz-aggressive style. Assuming this works reasonably well and the D-line holds Derrick Henry to a moderate game, how well can the Bills' secondary hold up against Lamar? How likely is this game script? Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this, and obviously the rest of the week we're going to be talking heavily about this Bills Week 1 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. And I'll flesh that out more in the coming days, and I'll have some new thoughts. But as I've started to think about this, the thought has crossed my mind that the Bills should really try to take away something. Don't try to be a balanced defense and give your chance against the run and the pass. I think you got to take away something. You got to try to take away something. And to me, I'd rather that be the run. I think that's what you got to try to focus in on. And look, I mean, the Ravens averaged 190 rushing yards per game last year. The Bills are not going to bottle those guys up. No team is bottling up Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry behind a physical offensive line. But give yourself your best opportunity to contain that as best as possible and live with Lamar dicing you up. If it happens, it happens. And he's certainly capable of that. I'm not trying to say that Lamar Jackson's not a good passer. He's a great passer. But in a world where you have to live with, hey, we might have some issues against the run or we might have some issues against the pass in this game, take your issues against the pass. You can't let Lamar play within rhythm. You have to make him be special. And he can be that. He certainly can. But I'm going to take my chances with making Lamar be special as a thrower than being, gashed in the run game repeatedly. I think Matt Milano's a big factor in this game. I'm concerned about that CB2 spot, even if it is Trey White. There's going to be some matchup advantages that Baltimore's going to have. It's just how it's going to be. There'll be some opportunities that the Bills have offensively against Ravens defense as well. But I do think you have to try to take away something the best you can. And to me, that's the run. And I'd probably live with the opportunities that Lamar might have in the passing game. But you cannot just give up 300 rushing yards or 250 rushing yards to Baltimore. That's going to be a long day. Dave says, and this is about Jordan Poyer. He said, there seems to be a lot of disagreement about Jordan Poyer's role and what it means for Cole Bishop. I get that, but this is my take, and maybe it's a herd mentality submission. Bishop has proven over the last 2 years to have spotty availability. He's been injured both seasons. Taylor Rapp suffered an injury in training camp, and we don't know what his injury status is going into week 1. Poyer may be an insurance policy against both of their injury susceptibility. Bishop has availability issues. You've said the same thing about Taylor at times as well. Maybe coach isn't bringing Poyer in because he's unsatisfied with their performance, but he's unsatisfied with sustained availability for both safeties. I think it's a great point by Dave. It's not really something I had considered. Now, in defense of Cole Bishop, in college, he missed 1 game. His injuries have been preseason, and it's obviously not a great time because he's missing huge parts of training camp in his first 2 years in the NFL. But at least his injuries have been in the preseason in the NFL. Yeah, and as for Taylor Rapp, the last 2 years, he hadn't been there for the bit. He missed time during the regular season, but of course he's missed time at the end, right? Wasn't available in either of the last 2 playoff elimination games. It's not great. So yeah, give yourself as much depth as possible. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So that's a good angle that I hadn't considered. I appreciate Dave bringing that one up. All right, we got more to get to here, including is Greg Rousseau really better on the left side versus the right? We'll tell you what the data says and a whole lot more on the other side of it. Folks, be sure to stick with me. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel makes sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet, whether that's spreads, over-unders, player props, same-game parlays, or you can even jump into the live betting as the action unfolds. It just makes it more exciting to watch sports, whether you're watching your favorite team, keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup, or just watching a game for the fun of it. It's a quick, easy, and honestly the best way to add a little more energy to those Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app or visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. You place that first $5 bet. If it hits, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Hey, Bills fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid real money just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out at any time to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. So don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now and use my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN. That's the word touchdown, not TD, touchdown, for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code TOUCHDOWN. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. All right, welcome back, folks. I have a few more items to get to here today. The next one comes from Minnie. Minnie says, I've been thinking a lot about potential areas this team can get a noticeable impact improvement out of current rostered players this season, and those thoughts often lead me to Greg Rousseau. I have this thought that we have brought up before that Groot is generally better playing and rushing from the left side, but has been pushed to the right side due to the players they have had around him. My hope is with the room in flux, maybe he gets more time on the left side and could unlock some more out of him, especially on the pass rush side of his game. But I wanted to do some fact checking on if this is actually a reasonable expectation. I think vibes-wise, some of Groot's best pass rush moments have been from the left, but is there any statistical data that backs up that thought? This is a great question. It's a great angle. It's a great talking point. And when I read this, I thought to myself, boy, I think this is true. I think that Greg Rousseau is a better player on the left side than the right side. And with Von Miller out of the mix and you kind of have a reset defensive end room, maybe that gets you more opportunities for Greg Rousseau to play where he's best on the left side. But then Minnie asked the right question, said, is there statistical data to back this up? So I looked into it. I went to Pro Football Focus, and what they have is a pass rush productivity score. And it's the amount of snaps you have rushing the passer, and then it factors in the amount of pressures. And of course, it if you have sacks, it's going to boost the grade, right? And they parse it out left side versus right side. So here's what the data says. We'll go back over the last 3 years. In 2022, Greg Rousseau had a pass rush productivity of 8.8 on the left side and 11.5 on the right side. Now look, the snaps were very skewed to the left. The 8.8 from the left came on 238 pass rush snaps, where the 11.5 on the right came on 39 pass rush snaps. So the left side is clearly the one where he played a lot more, but in the smaller amount of snaps, he was better from the right side. 2023, much more even distribution of snaps. 169 from the left, 177 from the right. In 2023, Rousseau's pass rush productivity from the left side was 10.4. From the right side, 7.3. He's actually better on the left side that year. Then you go to this past season, 2024. Pretty fair distribution, 243 from the left, 194 from the right. His PRP, pass rush productivity from the left side, 7.8. From the right side, 8.8. It's pretty close. It's definitely not definitively better in terms of that metric from the left versus right. It's actually a lot more balanced than we think. But I'd agree with you. Based on the sniff test, it seemed like it was a true statement. But he was actually better last year from the right side. The year before, he was better from the left side. And the year before that, he was better from the right side. So maybe this isn't that big of a deal. It feels like it is. Like I said, I agreed. I thought that was a true statement. The data does not support it. Jason says, I've heard you and Kyle Krabs discuss the Tennessee Volunteers and Ole Miss offenses and how it makes their players hard to project to the NFL. Could you describe what makes them unique and why, if it is successful in college, those concepts are not being brought to the NFL? So let's talk about this. And really what's recently provoked a lot of this conversation is some of the Tennessee players that have flamed out. Hendon Hooker, the quarterback, cut by the Lions. Kyle Allen beat him out. Jalen Wright with the Dolphins looks like that's not going in a good direction. That's a high pick at running back. Jalen Hyatt has not worked out for the Giants. It's a receiver. So you got these players that are coming out of this offense that are, it's an unbelievable college offense, but these guys are not working out in the NFL. There's a lot of things that make those offenses very, very difficult for guys to make the jump from them to the NFL. First of all, the play calls are very, very different. These play calls are coming in from the sideline based on pictures, right? An NFL play call is much different. So, just the mechanics of if you're a quarterback delivering a play call, if you're a player, receiving that play call and understanding what you're supposed to do, it's night and day different. What the quarterbacks do at the line of scrimmage is very, very different, right? Like in the NFL, you get up to the line, you're making checks, you're audibling, you're getting guys set. None of that happens for those teams, right? They look to the sidelines and the sidelines tell them what to do. Then your quarterback is never under center. They're always in shotgun. Then you have this extreme spacing. Watch Tennessee play. It's not like anything you've ever seen. Like the receivers, often like most of the receivers are outside the numbers. And keep in mind, in college, the numbers are further to the sideline. So you have this unbelievable amount of space. Formational width is just insanely wide. And then everything is simplified. There's no reading and reacting. It's all binary. Do this, if not do this, that's it. That's the whole play. So there's no adjusting on the fly. There's no reading coverages and, really making adjustments and allowing that to dictate your decisions, whether that's as a route runner or as a quarterback. So you have this extreme spread. They run unbelievable tempo. Everything's fast. It's just not NFL ball. And the athletes in the NFL are just too good. The advantage of doing that in college is that you can stress defenses with the spread and make them account for all this space. In the NFL, they don't care. These athletes are too good. You can't just win by alignment in the NFL like you can in college. And that's really what those teams are rooted in. They manufacture this space and make it very simple on everyone. Athletes are too good in the NFL. Players are too good in the NFL for that to work like it does in college. It's an amazing college offense. Does not help these guys go to the NFL. So hopefully that allows you to have a better understanding as to why those offenses are not producing, NFL talent like you want. And just watch them. Just put on Tennessee next time they're on your television and see what that looks like. And you tell me if that looks like anything you watch on Sundays. This last one I got from a lot of people, and I feel like I should share my thoughts. Basically, it's the Micah Parsons trade to the Packers, and if the Bills should have been in on that. So let's talk about it. Obviously, it's a blockbuster trade. It's an unprecedented trade in the history of the league. You're talking about a 26-year-old elite pass rusher that got traded, a week before the season started. And it goes for 2 first-round picks in Kenny Clark. And so the Packers will be picking probably late in the first round. And Kenny Clark's a good player, a 30-year-old nose tackle that is a very good run defender. But I think the pass rush has kind of diminished a bit in his overall profile. Obviously, Dallas has had struggles for years being firm against the run. And they told you through their press conference that they really wanted this run stopping ability. And they felt like they had a bit of a surplus on the edge. And really what it comes down to from Dallas's side of things is I think they're over Micah Parsons, whether it was, his podcast or his personality or his salary demands. Obviously he got paid a gazillion dollars, $47 million a year from Green Bay. Dallas said, we're good. We'll take the 2 first round picks, Kenny Clark, and move on. I don't know if that's what I would have done if I was Dallas. I'd probably try to work that out with Micah Parsons, who's an elite player that you drafted. But, that's the decision that they made. Here's the reality in terms of would I have wanted the Bills to make this trade? Of course I'd want Micah Parsons. Who wouldn't want Micah Parsons on their football team? He would elevate the team. He'd give you this pass rush dynamic that is special. I want Micah Parsons. Okay, so let's establish that. The opportunity cost here is what keeps me from being upset, because it's not the 2 first-round picks. That stings a little, right? That's your best opportunity to get meaningful young talent on low-cost deals. It's not that you'd have to give up a meaningful player. And look, some people say Ed Oliver and 2 first-round picks. I don't think Ed Oliver was the type of player that Dallas was looking for. They're looking for a true run-stopping nose. And the Bills really don't have that. So I don't know what player it would have taken as the add-in, all right? Probably somebody decent. It's really not that so much as it is $47 million a year. You know what? That's more than what the Bills are paying Greg Rousseau and Christian Benford. That's more. That's another $10 million. That's basically, it's the amount of money that the Bills are paying Greg Rousseau, Christian Benford, and Khalil Shakir. That opportunity cost plus the 2 first-round picks plus the player makes me think, I don't know. I think that's too much. Football is not basketball. Football is not basketball. You got to have 40 contributors to a football team. I just feel like that's so much to go in for one guy. Go back to what I said. I'd love to have Micah Parsons. I would. I probably would have talked myself into the excitement of adding Micah Parsons. But with the deal not happening with Buffalo, I can take a lot of comfort in that opportunity cost and realize how much more depth, and not just backup, I don't mean backup players, but overall depth of talent that the roster would have, because you have all of those resources not going to Micah Parsons and going elsewhere. That's going to allow you to have a better and more complete football team. So that's where I'm at on the Bills not trading for Micah Parsons. All right, folks, there you have it. Herd mentality in the books. We are getting closer and closer to that crossover Thursday, that primer, those final thoughts. You know what's coming here. Getting ready for the Ravens here real soon. Bill Squad live Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Myself, Jeremy White, Jerry Ostrowski. We're going to go through some season superlatives. Should be a really good time. Don't miss that live on the YouTube channel. If you miss it live at 2 Eastern, no big deal. It'll be archived on YouTube. We'll post it as an audio podcast afterwards as well. So don't miss anything. Make sure that you're subscribed. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.